Hi guys, this is Crossy. Welcome to Hatton Games, and you're locked into the first in a series of shoutcasting matches coming to you on the Hatton Games YouTube channel. We've got an absolute cracker to start with from the ESEA LAN finals as we bring you the EU versus USA All-Star game. So I've got everything set up ready to go here. This is the first one of this Hatton Games shoutcasted series, so if there's anything that I can improve on the technical front, please feel free to let me know. And it's been quite a while in the making, this thing, probably about 6 months, something like that, but due to various technical issues and me not finding the time to do it, it's been massively delayed. But glad to get the first one underway. This is a best of one match. It was played out on Dust 2, and let's get to it. So we're on board with the first round then, and it's the EU team that are starting on Terrace. Straight away on board with Scream, see if he can make something happen. Quick rundown of the players for America. We've got Skadoodle, we've got Anger, Kiko, Dazed and Nothing for EU. We've got P. Lindbergh, who is Forest. We've got Asmo, Neo, C. Allison, who is Get Right, and Scream. So 2 players from NIP, one from Very Games in here. Little bit of a language barrier potentially for this EU team, who are no doubt going to have to speak English. Just to try and balance all of the various nations. They have got a German and a Pole in there as well. And straight away we see a smash through into the B site as Neo picks up Skadoodle in the mid, and Neo gets a second, taking down Dazed. So first round goes very comfortably to the EU team there. Flags at the top of the screen are a little bit confusing. Apologies for that. They're both saying they're Americans, but never mind. So Dust 2 then, from both 1.6 and from CSS. This was largely a T-sided map. Wasn't always that way. When I started off in 2005 it was CT-sided, but since then teams have become a lot more aggressive and much more effective at making picks. So T-sided map. You'd expect the pistol is going to go this way. As Anger, nice work taking down Screen. That's not a bad way to answer when you're pistols against rifles, and he's done a nice job for his team there. Bit of a slow build up. Let's see how this one's setting up as we see a push on to short now. Forrest trying to make the early runnings, but it's his buddy Get Right that gets the opening frag as they push onto the site. 3v2 in favour of the European team. Neo putting some early frags together. 3 so far in the opening couple of rounds. Forrest makes nice work with the AK there. Good control. And Neo mops up. So 4 frags for him so far. Something you're going to see as we watch the 2 players from NIP in particular, who come in from a 1.6 background, that their rifle control is second to none. Get Right is the standout player, and then coming in second is without a doubt going to be Forrest. These guys know how to use the recoil on these guns, and it can be the difference between winning and losing rifle battles when you've got that control. Nothing, again, opening up, and NA seem to be getting these opening picks on the CT side with the pistols, but you've got to go and take it one step further. You can't go getting that opening kill and then finding as soon as the EU team smashes onto a site that you've got no answer for them. It's good opening signs. Anyways, Dazed also picks up Asmo. That's the German player from, well, formerly of N Faculty. Unfortunately, that lineup just after numerous problems has now folded. Kiko opens up with a kill on Forrest. Neo firing in with a couple, and he's been huge so far, the Polish player. I wouldn't expect him to be the standout guy here, with a lot of quality on show. Scream gets taken down by Anger, and it is a 1v1. Neo, what can he make happen? Go rotate out with the bomb, but he doesn't need to. He's running backwards and unleashes a burst and rips Nothing's face off with the AK. And that is 3 rounds on the spin going to the Europeans here. Nothing too out of the ordinary. You get that first one on the board, you're expected to piggyback through for the next 2. And with the way that the Glock's playing at the moment compared to the CT starter pistol, it's no surprise that Terrace has come out much more often on top on the opening pistol versus pistol. Slow build up again from the EU team then. So I know I don't want to go too aggressive on the buy versus buy, and don't blame them for that one at all. Did jump on with Skadoodle for a minute, a very influential and dangerous player with the AWP. And again, the North Americans come away with the opening pick, and that's Dazed once again that manages to make that, taking down Asmo. They've got to build on that. Got to make that numerical advantage pay as we see Forrest working his way up onto short. Angus sitting there getting ready to face him, and Neo once again takes down Skadoodle, so that's an AWP down straight away. So we see a push onto the A site now. Nothing gets one go, try and stop the plant if he can. Nothing's got two, Nothing's got three, and he's going to be sitting on that defuse. 4v1. Get Right decides he's going to save in that situation, and what a huge three-man there from nothing. Didn't manage to stop the plant, so the EU team will be more than happy to take the dollar for that. But nice work, three-man, didn't need his buddies to clear that site out, and that's the first round on the board for the Americans. As we briefly touched on, the Americans haven't got the language barrier to worry about. That could be a positive or a negative though. Sometimes you don't want too much chat. And Dust 2 is one of those maps where you can spread out, and splitting and picking is quite important. And it does give you that opportunity to go out and fly solo. Be interesting to see how Scream manages to perform in this one, as we see Nothing pushing through, and that is another couple of frags to add to his total. He's racking these up in bunches, I can tell you that much. And Anger in there taking down Forrest. Spamming him through the smoke and through the boxes. Nothing going to try and go for a second three-man as Scream takes down Kiko. Skadoodle with the AWP. Can he make something happen as Scream's got a second one on the board? Flash is coming in, and we're going to see an attack on this B site, no doubt. Nothing just sitting outside waiting for the chance to come in and help his teammates out. Very standard plant from Asmo, managing to get across with the smoke. 3v2.5. Or 2v... yeah, whatever. Scream's got his third, make that his fourth of the round, and he's finally cut down. But Asmo does the job, and that is going to be 4-1 in favour of the Europeans. So nice work, and a very tasty four-man from Scream, who opens up his account with those as well. And we've noticed with him in the very rigid terrorist setup for very games that he's struggling a little bit in that kind of setup. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see him just be sent to split off and go and try and make something special happen. Although, bit of a spoiler, he does have a very strong tournament here at the ESEA LAN finals for very games, so it's not all bad for him. On board Forrest as he comes up and tries to make that opening pick on the site, and he does get dazed, but he's got another player, Skadoodle, giving a bit of attention as well. Skadoodle's got himself pinned in on the site though, bit of work to do there. Asmo could have a player pushing through on the long doors as Get Right picks up a nade on Skadoodle, who is tagged down to fairly low HP on the site. And Get Right also grabs a frag on Nothing. Bomb going to be making its way to the A site. Numbers favour the Europeans as Neo grabs another frag to add to his tally. That's Anger going down. Last man alive is very quickly sent packing by Asmo. And that is 5-1 in favour of the Europeans. So, interesting here. I expected this was going to be a close one, to be honest. I would be leaning towards the Europeans winning this one. I would be biased, though, wouldn't I? But I didn't think it would be this comfortable. I know it's early days, T-sided map and all that, but Americans seem to be having a fairly tough time to get into this one. They're making those opening picks for a majority of these rounds, but they're not then turning that round and locking down the sights, which is a shame. I'm sure with this quality of player on display, we could see a pretty heated one as Neo is getting yet another frag on the board, and that's nothing going down. Four v 5 in favour of the Europeans. Can they rack up another round on the board? Can they take it 6-1? Got Kiko going for an aggressive-ish push through tunnels. He's got two players in lower. Maybe they've heard him, but Kiko very wisely decides he's going to drop back into the site. Don't blame him, but he has got 3 EU players chasing him down. And Neo going to try and make something happen on short. He's got 2 players to deal with there, including the Orpa Skadoodle. And with the amount of promise that he's got, you'd expect he's going to make that shot if Neo gets too aggressive. But no, Neo steps out, takes down Anger. Skadoodle does make the AWP pick in the end. And in the meantime, that gives plenty of time for the bomb to make its way into B. Asmo taking down the one defender in the site. Get right manages to get a pick over at the other site as well. On board Skadoodle, can he make something happen? Well, he's got attacks from both sides. He's got Get Right from long. He's got plenty of players in B trying to defend. The only thing he's going to want to do is keep hold of this AWP in CT spawn, and it is not going to happen. Scream gets aggressive, jumps in there with a flash to aid him, and he takes it down. So that is 6-1 in favour of the Europeans. Let's see what Team North America got in their locker. Not a whole lot the way things are going so far. Just bring up the scoreboard really quickly and you can see Neo is absolutely bossing this. Who would have expected that? You know, you look at the players in here and you think Get Right, Forest, all huge fraggers. Scream, once he's got the handcuffs off, if you like, you'd expect him to go huge as he's taken down by Kiko in the tunnels with a pistol. North Americans forced into a pistol. Not that that's done them too much harm because they have made opening picks as they have done here. But again, you've got to make that translate into rounds onto your tally. And we do see a plant on the site far too comfortable as they make their way up long. Asmo with 2. Forrest gets hold of an AWP and makes nice work there, and Asmo takes his 3rd, and it is 7-1 in favour of the Europeans. They are running away with this one early doors. Americans, if they can get themselves 5 rounds out of this, I think they'll be quite happy. Back on the bye, going for a 2 AWP setup with Dazed and Skadoodle both grabbing one. But that's not going to work as Kiko gets taken down on the cross before Skadoodle comes in and takes down Get Right with the AWP. So a frag traded each way. Now Asmo gets 1, making very light work of nothing in the long area. Going to drop out. Skadoodle's got his 2nd, taking down Forest with the AWP. That's the 2 NIP players going down. 3v3. Make that 2v3 as Anger falls to Neo. And Neo's got Skadoodle as well. Oh, this guy's unstoppable. What's going on? You never would have expected Neo to be leading the frag charts in the way he is, but it's happening. And you can see now why he's earned his spot in this thing. Gonna jump on board with Dazed. He's going to keep hold of this AWP. 2 AWP setup that North Americans went for. Maybe not worked out all that well because Skadoodle did get 2. But Dazed, absolute naffle with his AWP over in the B side. He is getting hunted. Does take down Asmo in the end. German player going on the hunt. And Dazed also grabs Scream. So he's doing about the best he can. And he has got some attention from Neo. And, well, it would be, wouldn't it? Neo would have to come out on top in that battle. 16 frags on the board. We've only had 9 rounds of Counter-Strike. This is mental. And out of all the players you would have expected to step up, he is not the one I was thinking of. But the European team are not going to be complaining about this one bit. And Scream looking fairly tame at the bottom of the scoreboard there. On board with Days, then we've got a bit of action potentially coming in the B tunnels. As Get Right picks up a couple, so that's Nothing and Anger going down quite comfortably. Days does manage to grab Scream, but Get Right is sitting on a 4-man before he's eventually cut down by Days with a pistol, who is flashed in the lower area. Neo going to strut his way up to the site and get a plant down. Forrest got himself in an interesting little position there and dumps the smoke down to try and get himself out of it. Does mop up Dazed, who was tagged with a pistol, and 9-1. I'm not going to say, well, I am going to say the obvious. North Americans need to get some rounds. Ideally this one. It is an important one and they cannot drop too many here or it is going to be a tough ask for them. You'd expect they'll get the pistol round and the next two afterwards, but it's not guaranteed. And they really are struggling for form here, as I'm on board with Forrest as he tries to get a pick long, skipping in there with the AWP. No such luck this time. Forrest taking down a very low HP. He's on 18. Neo going to try and make something happen. Could see a mid to B split. That smoke going down is going to cover off the CT area. And Neo is in there taking down Anger. That is exactly what you want. Kiko does manage to grab Neo in the end. We see three players trying to rotate in from CT spawn. Forrest going to get in with his AWP, try and back up. Skadoodle grabs Scream in the sight. Asmo firing back, taking down Kiko. And Nothing with a frag for the North Americans. And flashes are going to be coming in. They need to make this retake if they have any chance. Forrest down to 18 HP. Managing to tuck himself nicely into the smoke. And a big box plant. You don't see that very often. Dazed and Nothing spamming through the smoke there. Do manage to get that man. Not even... oh, I've had an absolute mare. There wasn't even a bomb plant. It was just dropped on the site. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's a good job this is the first game for Hatton Games. I can get away with making the odd mistake here, right? And talking of mistakes, this hasn't been going too well for the Americans, but they have pulled one round back. If they can somehow scrape this through to a 9-6, then fantastic. They'll be pretty happy with that one. If they can get it to 10-5. Again, I don't think they can complain too much. And Kiko's in there with the opening pick. Scream firing back. And blows being traded by both teams. 3 men left alive. Nothing steps out and manages to grab a quick scope on Scream as he makes his way into the site. Nice work from Nothing, just hiding behind the double stack. Got the two NIP players working a cheeky little smoke and flash strat into the site by the looks of things. And these two have recently been juggling for the top fragger for NIP. Undoubtedly the top team in Europe at the moment. And possibly the top team in the world if they come through and win the ESEA LAN final, which they did. Bit of a spoiler for you if you haven't seen it. Dazed manages to grab Get Right on the site. Nothing, trying to make something happen, but Skadoodle's in there to back him up. There goes Forrest. And it's going to be 2 rounds on the spin for the North Americans. And man, they need this one. And they need a couple more as well if they don't want this to be an absolute whitewash. Have the Americans got any tricks up their sleeve? I would say potentially not. American teams are not known for their tricky strats and their clever flashes off of 20 walls to go and blind someone. That's more the kind of thing you'd know for the Europeans, especially those coming in from CS Source. As we see some fairly aggressive work. Got an A split. Get Right gets one. Forrest gets one. Forrest gets two as he comes down long. Dazed does manage to pick up Scream, and Scream just cannot get anything going here. despite having more of a free role than he does in his very games team. Asmo getting himself blinded very nicely on short, just tucked in by the stairs. And Anger does go in and manage to mop up there. Frag's been traded both ways, so it's Anger with one, Forrest with one, and it's a 1v1! Forrest gets the knife and does grab the extra dollar for that one, but Anger gets to defuse and the all-important round win. So 9-4, 3 rounds on the bounce for the Americans. They needed this one. Anger gives it the sad smiley face. Understandable, you don't want to get knifed in an all-star game, but at least it wasn't to lose the round as well. That would really rub some salt in the wound. Nice work from Dazed as he takes down Forrest. Tried to skip his way through into Suicide Alley, and that hasn't worked out. And we got an aggressive push as Neo is taken down to 12 HP in the mid area. So who was that just made the push through? Going to try and get on board, find out who that was. I think that may have been Anger, who stepped through and had a little trade with Neo. Managed to get the tag, but not the frag. Told you I was going to steal that at some point. Damage being traded, but only one kill so far, and that was Forrest going down right at the beginning. Neo's still alive, just about on his 12 HP. Minute 10 left on the clock. Slow build up. Looks like we're going to see another mid to B push here. Anger could find himself taken down very quickly through this mid doors, or he could scalp 2 potentially. He's blind, but Anger just sprays through that anyway, and that's Asmo going down. His buddy in the mid area decides he's not going to try and step that, but does spam through, and that is Get Right. Goes for a spam, managed to find out where Anger was behind the door, and then came and covered the angle. Get Right's got a couple. Skadoodle with it all to do. 2v1. Bomb in the hands of Neo. Bomb planted in the B side. Skadoodle steps straight in there. Little bit ambitious. I guess he was hoping to get one at the back of sight, but no such luck. Crossfire was well and truly in place, and that is a frag for Scream, who's still finding himself down at the bottom of the scoreboard. Neo has slowed down a bit as well. Hasn't got any frags really for the last couple of rounds, as things started to go in the favour of the Americans. But they have been pegged back. Double figures in place for the European team as we find ourselves coming into the last round, or the second half. We're going to see an aggressive B push. Scream was looking for it, got flashed and decided against it, but Scream's going in anyway. He takes down Kiko, and they're working something big here in the B site. Anger does get Scream. Get Right firing in, and that's Anger going down. Forrest got the AWP, watching the tunnels. Neo, there he is, that's 2. Nice and comfortable, nothing going down, and then Dazed at the window. Is he going to try and get a 3-man? Is he going to make it a 20 bomb in this first half? And he does! I have to say he deserved that. He has been epic. Absolutely epic. Well and truly deserved those 20 frags. And who would have thought it? You look at Forrest and Get Right, who have been huge fraggers over the last 8 or 9 months for Ninjas in Pyjamas. You look at Scream, who has struggled to find his role, but has been... He's got so much class, so much potential, so much talent, just in the pure fragging ability. And if he can translate that and really fit into the very game setup, then sky's the limit for him. But Neo coming out on top, who would have thought that? And as for the Americans, what can they do here then? 11-4, far from ideal. It's a long way back, and they've got to win this pistol. You do sometimes see some slightly strange stats from strange strats from CTs on not just on Dust 2, on any map really, because the Glock is so powerful at the moment that sometimes you just need to try and do something to change up the pace. When I started playing Dust 2 in 2005, it was a CT-sided map, as Forrest manages to grab nothing as he jumps up on the short. Dazed and Kiko get a couple in though for the North Americans, and they need this pistol round badly. Bomb makes his way across. Numbers in favour of the Americans, and Skadoodle takes down Get Right there. Forrest coming into the tunnels. Can he make something happen? He's sagged down to 83 HP. Does get the frag on Skadoodle. Kiko firing in and takes down Forrest in the end. 1v3. And Neo can't quite recapture his form very early on here. And the first round of the pistol goes in favour of the Americans in the second half. Going back to the point I was making, Dust 2, back in the day when I started playing, was a CT-sided map. It wasn't until the terrorists started getting more aggressive, getting better at making those entry picks, that the map started to change around. And with Go, we got a new game. It's less than a year old. We've got players coming in from Source, from 1.6, from other games as well, bringing new ideas to the front. As we see the North Americans smashing through long quite comfortably. We've got a Nova up, but that's not going to do any good. And it was the second round on the bounce to the Americans. Probably going to piggyback through to the next one. And I think it is a pattern that we're seeing where teams are starting to bust out some more aggressive or some slightly quirky strats on CT to try and balance out the way that Go's changed. Starting to favour the terrorists a bit more with a starting pistol, and just in the way that the maps have changed and been set out. So I'd be interested to see how things change, and maybe it will come to the point when the counter-terrorists have to start becoming a lot more aggressive. As Skadoodle gets 2 with the MP7, make that 3 with the pistol this time, deciding that the MP7 isn't going to do the job. He decides to grab a Glock, finally taken down by Get Right in the end. Still though, numbers favour the North Americans, but the two EU players have managed to grab guns. Get Right with an MP7 in hand. And I've noticed some of the top teams are making real good use of the MP7. Because if you control it properly and fire a burst at people's faces, you will get headshots with it. Anger does get 1. Still 2v1 though, and it was a little bit too much for Get Right to do there. Pinned into the CT side. First 3 rounds go in favour of the North Americans. First buy v buy coming up, and this is where it could all turn around. Can they open it up, send the Europeans back onto an eco and start to close this gap? Or will the Europeans stamp their authority on this game and start to close it out? 2 odds for the Europeans at Asmo and Forrest with those in hand. Action on the long area. Flash is coming in. Neo gets 1. A bit of a spray down there really with nothing. And one of the players also out long got himself pinned in at blue bins. Couldn't help out his teammate. And that's not what the North Americans wanted. Getting pinned down to a 4v5. Really wanted numbers in their favour. Forrest deciding not to get too aggressive down long, steps back to the platform, and straight away he's got Kiko trying to peek the angle on short. No such luck, and a rifle is not going to come out well against an AWP if you're going to just peek that angle there and leave yourself open for the AWPer to grab you. Over a minute left to go here. Got a decent setup. We got A plat defended. We got player watching mid. So he's going to see Skadoodle there go and make a play for that bomb. Skadoodle does get the pick on Asmo. So nice work there. Scream just holding at the back of B. So he's going to try and slow down the rotate and grab the player there if he can. Still got Neo in the long area, and he manages to grab Anger. Are we going to see a rotate potentially? No. Yes, we are. Who needs a rotate when Forrest can just go and grab Skadoodle on the cross? Gets the second as well. That's Dazed that falls. And after an early bit of... well, dominance is the wrong word. But after an early little run from the Americans, they get the pistol. They get the next 2 as expected. First buy versus buy is crucial. And they do not come up with that one. So it is 12-7 in favour of the Europeans. And the way things are going, I don't see them dropping another round here. And 16-7, that is huge. That is an absolute drubbing. And that could be the sign of things. Days does manage to pick up Forest, though. That's an Orc versus Orc battle going on there down in the long area. Get Right coming in to try and avenge his NIP teammate. 2 players out long, and Neo takes down Kiko. And that's the bomb down as Get Right comes in and helps out. Skadoodle going down. Asmo and Neo getting in with the final 2 frags, mopping things up. Another 3-man for Neo. And 25 frags in 20 rounds of Counter-Strike. That is pretty impressive these days. It wasn't uncommon in Source to see someone drop a 30 bomb in a half. Still possible, I guess, but yeah, these days something like 30 to 40 kills over the course of a match is pretty good going. Just the way the economy's starting to work out, you don't have quite so many chances to eco-bash people as Scream gets one, Get Right gets one, and Neo gets one as well. So frags being spread around here for this EU team. Anger does grab Asmo in the tunnels where the bomb is down, so they're going to grab that. 2v2. Minute 30 left to go on the clock, so plenty of time. Neo's going to have some action in the tunnels. He's taken down. So this could be a tough clutch for Get Right. But he has the potential to make this happen. Making his way in there very quickly. That flash is going to blind both of the players at the back of the site. Anger tries to push through. And that is not a great play, I wouldn't say. You just got to stick in. And straight away he steps in. Gets Kiko at the angle. Pretty much guessed that he'd be there. Because... well, yeah, it was a good guess. He just peeped that angle straight away. Again, from there, he could have seen back of the site. So, really well played. But I'd Get Right has been a huge player for NIP. Brimming with confidence. And Anger, why would you push out there? You're 2v1. You just got flashed. So, he won't have had perfect vision. You've just got to keep yourself bedding into that site. Get a crossfire going. If he's going to come in through the door or the window, then you've got to make sure that he can't get both of you. That's just silly. And from what could have been 13-8 and a chance for the North Americans to turn it around, they have chucked away their opportunity. They are 1 round away from the draw. Or 1 lost round away from the draw, I should say. And they're on a scrub bite as well. They've got 3 Galils in the action. Get Right comes out with the opening pick, but he is caught through the door with a headshot from Daze. A little bit lucky there as he's just spamming through the wood, but if they want to turn this around, they need a little bit of that luck. Thinking about possibly a B split here. Or maybe not. Forest comes in with the AWP trying to make something happen. Anger gets one, but Asmo backing up with his AWP, and he gets Skadoodle around about the fun box as well. Numbers favour EU, 3v2. Bomb's going to make its way up onto short when Neo, who has been the big player on the frag charts, is going to be trying to hold that as best he can round about the site area. Hasn't peaked yet. Still hasn't peaked, being disciplined. He could have the chance to clean up here, and he does. That is 2. That's Dazed and Kiko both going down. That's the draw guarantee for the Europeans. What? Oh. Neo, where has this come from? Ridiculous. Mental. 28 frags so far. None of his teammates can get anywhere near him. So is this all over for the Americans? They've bought what they can. Lots of Galils in the action. Scream pings in a nade. Maybe it's a little bit too early to get a tag there, but nothing is taken down to low HP. Kiko taking down the low HP. Skadoodle taking down the low HP. They're into the site. And it's all kicking off. There's more bullets flying than your average Batman Premier in the site. This could be it all over. Frags being traded 1v1. Anger low HP. That nade could do the job. Nope, didn't quite get that right, did Forrest. But he steps in and finishes off the 14 HP guy. So that is it. 16-7. Huge performance by the Europeans. They're not worried about language barriers. And who needs Get Right and who needs Forrest, eh? When you've got a player like Neo coming in absolutely huge. I think he dropped a 30 bomb altogether over those rounds. And yeah, fantastic stuff. You've been locked into Crossy. This has been the first shoutcasted game for Hatton Games. Hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to leave your feedback for anything that could be done better. I am more than happy to learn from my mistakes. And I'll catch you next time.